Hey friends! So today's video is going to be one that I have talked about recently a little bit, and it was one that I wanted to make at the beginning of this year because I've been watching a lot of Netflix. I'm watching a lot of Netflix and a lot of Hulu. As we all know, a lot of our favorites on Netflix were taken from us by Disney+. And today's video, I just wanted to talk about some of my top faves, shows that I've been binging on Netflix and on Hulu, for those of you who don't want to give any money to Disney or don't want to give any money to Amazon, because I don't pay for either of those services. Just TV shows that I've been enjoying a lot. So, we're splitting this video into two sections. The first is shows that have multiple seasons that you can binge, that you will watch, and you will not be sad after like 7 or 8 episodes. Because we all know there's some of those shows where you're like, oh, I love this season, but there's only one, and then you can't watch anymore. So we're gonna start with shows that have multiple seasons that you will be able to watch and enjoy for weeks on end, or months, depending on how often you watch TV and how many seasons there are. So one of the oldest shows that I have watched, and one of the shows that I have watched for the longest, is Criminal Minds. There are 15 seasons, I believe, full 14 seasons, and they're in their 15th right now, so probably 14 seasons on Netflix. Criminal Minds is a show that it's one of my favorite like crime shows, and the cast has always been fantastic. I've always loved the cast. I've always loved the storytelling. I have always loved how they've been able to weave larger stories into a season as well as like the individual shows. But it's one of those shows that is a series, so it's not more of a serialized drama, so you can watch an episode by itself and kind of get what's going on. There's individual stories within each episode, so it's not something like Game of Thrones or Lost where like each episode you have to follow. Criminal Minds is one where you can watch a few episodes and then step away from it and then watch it months later and still kind of know what's going on. And I love it. I love Criminal Minds. I love Reed. I love Penelope. I love Paget Brewster is like my fave. And at the beginning when Mandy Patinkin was part of it, I loved it. And then now with Joe Mantegna, I love it just as much. I was glad that they were able to keep it going for as long as they did. And so there's plenty of seasons for you to watch on Netflix. I love Criminal Minds. So now that Disney is taking away all of our Marvel properties from Netflix, I feel like they're going to be pushing the DC shows quite a bit more. All the CW shows particularly. My boyfriend and I used to watch The Flash every single week, and we watched Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl. I didn't really watch Arrow when it first started. I didn't get into Arrow much, but I love The Flash. It's super campy. It's super ridiculous, fun. They actually have like decent effects for a TV show, and I love Grant Gust. He's such a great Barry. I love The Flash. You can escape from some stuff, and it's soon enough going to be some of the only things that you can watch on Netflix that feature superheroes, because I noticed when they started taking some of the Marvel stuff off, Netflix started pushing these like weird superhero shows that are something I've never heard of before, but the DC CW shows still remain
better than Justice League.
I'll say that. One that is also a CW show that Libby and I just started watching, and we watched, I think, like 6 episodes last night, called The 100, and it's so campy and dorky and ridiculous. It's post-apocalyptic, about like 100 years in the future, and there's all these people living on a space station, and they send 100 underage criminals to the Earth to see if it's survivable, because it was like a nuclear apocalypse. So then it follows the lives of the people up on the space station who are still trying to survive because they're running out of air, and then they're also following the 100 little delinquents who are on Earth trying to navigate living on Earth for the first time. And it's as ridiculous as it sounds, but it's fun. Everybody's attractive on the show, so you can watch and you're like, everybody's got somebody to look at. That's what they do on the CW shows. They just have like a drama, sci-fi drama, and just have pretty people in it. So far, I'm really enjoying it, and I recommend it. It's fun. Nailed It.
Uh-oh.
Is one on Netflix that I will watch over and over and over again. I love cooking shows. I'm not as big a fan of like home improvement shows. Libby loves the like home decorating shows, but Nailed It is one that I will laugh at. I will watch multiple times. The seasons are super short and the episodes are short and fun and just positive. What I like about Nailed It, as opposed to other like cooking competitions, is that you don't send anybody home. It's like they don't have losers. They just have a winner. So it's something that like you can walk away from and people aren't sad. People aren't like leaving being like, oh, I failed. It's like, oh, I won. And then you have the people that just didn't win. So it's a fun show. Nicole Byer is chef's kiss of a host. I love her. I love Jacques Torres. I love the people they have on as guests. The bits are ridiculous and the people they get on there are ridiculous. It's just mindless, fun entertainment that you can watch with the whole family, and it's just fun. I like and they come out with seasons very often. I'm sure it's a very easy show to film and easy show to produce. I hope it keeps going for many more seasons because it's highly entertaining and I love it. I love it so much. Probably my favorite out of all of these shows that I am talking about today is
Schitt's Creek.
There's a bug on your dress.
You fuck.
And I slept on Schitt's Creek for a really long time. I remember seeing it on Netflix for years because it's been on for years and I just never watched it. I never clicked play. I just always scrolled past it. And then I don't know why I just like decided to click on it a couple of months ago, but I started it and I absolutely love it.
I had just had my eyelashes dyed. Everything was cloudy.
They just came out with the 6th season. It's like just started on Pop TV, I believe, in Canada, but they have the first 5 seasons on Netflix and it is so bingeable. It is such a heartwarming show. The episodes are like 22 minutes long because it's a half-hour comedy, so without all the commercials, it's 22 minutes. So you can watch an entire season in a night because you can get 3 episodes in an hour. The casting is perfect. Dan Levy is adorable. Annie Murphy is hilarious. Catherine O'Hara is a triumph. Moira is like one of the most hilariously written characters I have seen on TV in a very, very long time. And this is the first time in a really long time that I've watched a show that the relationship building in it has given me the warm fuzzies, the way that like The Office gave me when Jim and Pam first got together. I love it. Like I have really needed something that's been super positive the last few weeks, and Libby and I finished the last 2 seasons that are on Netflix in a few days, and it's just such a heartwarming show. It's about family, it's about love, it's about friendship. Something about not including a ton of like negative drama is just so refreshing, because obviously you gotta have some sort of like tension to create a comedy, but like the tension doesn't come from a place of like it being super uncomfortable. It's such a fucking positive, uplifting show. You don't get that a lot. So many TV shows on fucking TV these days are either like super dramatic, or they're based on a book, they're based on a game, or they are just like mindless sitcoms like Big Bang Theory. Catherine O'Hara by herself is worth watching this show because she's so fucking funny. The plot kind of the idea is what would happen if a family that was so fucking wealthy, so privileged, lost everything and had to end up in a small podunk town that they own because they bought it as a joke because of its name, Schitt's Creek. And so it's about this family who has so much wealth and they lose everything, and then they kind of have to build themselves back up again, and it's just amazing and lovely and wonderful, and it makes me cry, it makes me laugh. Seriously, so good. Okay, all right. Now we're getting over to Hulu. So a few shows on Hulu that I highly recommend. One is Pen 15. It's like a colloquialism of penis. Pen 15. It's a show about being 15, about high school, and in like the early 2000s. So the main people in the show are like my age, around my age, early 30s. And so it's about their teenage years. But what the funniest part is that they play teenage themselves, but they have actual teenagers playing the rest of the characters in the show. And it's so fucking funny. The writing is so relatable. I'm watching it and I was like, I feel that, I feel that, I feel that. Anybody in their early 30s, late 20s, highly recommend it. It's so funny. And it's just the situations that they find themselves in. I relate to so much, and it's so funny. God, there's an episode where like the main character like discovers masturbation for the first time, and it's I died laughing. So funny. One show that I have watched on the Travel Channel for so many goddamn years. If you don't have cable like me, you can watch it on Hulu. Ghost Adventures is a guilty pleasure that I am not ashamed of, and I fucking love it.
They built these forts out of these coquina shells. And these coquina shells, they made cement almost into it with these big bricks.
I love Ghost Adventures so much. I don't care if it's not real. I don't care if the guys in it are like huge douchebags. It's highly entertaining. It's mindless entertainment. I love hearing the stories about the places. I know a lot of people are like, ooh, is the ghost real? I don't honestly care. I just like hearing the stories about the places, like the history. Also, I do like the ghosty stuff, but I love Ghost Adventures, and I have been watching it for probably 10 years now. Libby and I discovered it a long time ago, and I will watch it every time I'm home with my parents because my parents have Dish and it's on Hulu, and I'm so happy that it is because I haven't been able to watch it in a long time because I don't have cable. But I love Ghost Adventures, and if you love ridiculous, over-the-top ghosty shows, the main dude in it used to be like a wedding DJ in fucking Las Vegas. They're ridiculous people, but it's so funny. Oh, just as a guilty pleasure. I fucking love Ghost Adventures. God damn it. And then the last one on Hulu is one that a friend of mine told me about, and my coworkers I think also talked about it as well, but it's Letterkenny.
Fuck, I could watch kids fall off bikes all day. I don't give a shit about your kids.
Letterkenny and Schitt's Creek have been like the bright lights of my life the last 2 months. I love Letterkenny so much. It's a show about Canadian hicks made by Canadians. Like it's a Canada-based show. Creator and the main guy in the show literally used to be a professional hockey player. That's how Canadian it is. And it's so fucking funny. The characters, ridiculous. The writing, the weirdest shit in the world. Like the main characters are Canadian hicks, Canadian meth heads, hockey players.
To be fair.
All these little like references on like, that's what I appreciates about you. And all of these little like inside jokes. Ugh.
That's a Texas size 10-4, good buddy.
And figure it out. Just, I love it. I love Letterkenny. And the music, the soundtrack is fantastic. The soundtrack is killer. It features so many like indie alternative Canadian bands and like Purity Ring, Tune Yards. The soundtrack alone is also fantastic. I highly recommend it if you love irreverent, ridiculous, weird comedy. The few episodes, it kind of takes a little warming up to because you're not quite sure what the direction of the show is when you first start watching it. You're like, what are they talking about? What is this? But then after like 2 or 3 episodes, you're like, okay, I get it. And then you start laughing at things, and then you just can't stop laughing at things, and I just love it so much. Now on to a handful of shows that only have 1 season. And these are shows you could probably finish in an entire day if you're sick at home, or in a few days if you want to watch it several days over the course of a week. Dark Crystal is on Netflix, and there's 1 season of it. Each episode is about an hour long, so it's quite a long series, but there is only 1 season, and it's so good. It takes the same technique that the Dark Crystal did back in the day using puppets, and it's so refreshing to see. It's very weird to look at. Like, I showed it to my sister and she was like, what the fuck is happening? I read a review of it and someone said it's like Game of Thrones but with puppets. I can kind of see that, like the story behind it kind of feels that way, but the voice acting is really good. Mark Hamill is in it, Simon Pegg, so many people, Jason Isaacs, Taron Egerton. I just keep remembering other people that are in the show. Keegan-Michael Key. God, I could just go list them all, but there's so many, and it's done really well. It's very weird, and it's just magical to look at. It's something that like you don't see much anymore because everybody's fucking doing CGI. So seeing people do like good old-fashioned fucking puppets, it's jarring but refreshing because you don't see it a lot anymore. Love it. Umbrella Academy only has 1 season on Netflix. I am itching for another season because the first season was so good. I can see its flaws. The ending was a little bit anticlimactic, but the characters are really well done, and I love seeing Robert Chan back into his old habits.
I don't know about you, but I need a drink.
And the soundtrack is good, the costuming is nice, it's shot really well, and I am definitely interested to see where they take the characters in the next season. If you guys don't know what the Umbrella Academy about, it's actually based on a comic book written by Gerard Way, and it's about former kid superheroes as adults. They have to kind of like come together and like save the world again. So while the like general overarching arc of the show and the ending were a little bit all over the place for me, the characters and like the back and forth with the characters and the dialogue was so good and engaging that I still very much recommend it. And anything that can give Gerard Way any more success, I'm here for. The Haunting of Hill House is another one that I'm so fucking excited for another season because, again, the casting, the dialogue, the inner relationship back and forth done so well. It's scary enough to give me like kind of like ooh, spooky stuff. It's not super, like it's not terrifying, but it's still scary, and I loved the casting. I loved it so much. And I believe the guy who made it also did the movie Hush, which is also like scary and eerie. And I like that movie too. And this next season, I think it's a different house. I'm not entirely sure where they're going to take it because like, I don't know what they could do at the end, like where they could take the same house and the same family after the first series. But I know with this next one, Raul Coley from iZombie is gonna be in it, and I'm so excited. I love him so much. Oh, speaking of iZombie, quick side note.
What someone would point to if you decapitated a stranger at the back of a bus.
iZombie, I love so much. There's multiple seasons on Netflix. I highly recommend it. It's campy, it's ridiculous, it's adorable. It's about zombies and a medical examiner who eats the brains of the victims of crimes and then sees visions of their killers and absorbs some of their personality traits. And it's ridiculous. And there were so many seasons of it, and I love it so much. And it's based in Seattle, and it's clearly not filmed here. It's clearly filmed in Vancouver, and I love it. So back to shows with one season. One show that my friend Matthew actually showed me just the other day, there's only one season on Netflix, and it's pretty short. It's a half-hour comedy show. It's a sketch show. It's called I Think You Should Leave, and it has Tim Robinson as one of the co-producers, and then The Lonely Island, Akiva Schaffer and Jorma Taccone are the other producers of the show, and it's very reminiscent of their kind of comedy, which I love. I love The Lonely Island so fucking much. And it's just a sketch show, and the sketches are just weird enough to like not end up on Saturday Night Live, but it features a lot of people who have been on Saturday Night Live. I'll leave a link to actually probably my favorite sketch on the show. It features Vanessa Bayer from Saturday Night Live, and it's so fucking funny. It just has like some really fun guest stars, and the sketches don't go on too long. I love it. I like sketch shows that aren't necessarily always live sketch shows, and this one's good. I like it. I like it a lot. It's fun. It's called I Think You Should Leave, and the title just makes me chuckle. And then the last one we're going to talk about is The Witcher. And I'm sure most of you have already seen The Witcher, and I have watched the season twice now because I watched it with my boyfriend. Didn't quite get what was going on, watched it with my sister. I got what was going on at that point. And I feel like that was done on purpose because the way they structure the narrative is very confusing. I will give it that. It's very fucking confusing. If you don't know the books or don't know the video games, you might need to watch through it twice, but it's fun to watch through twice anyway. And it is based on a book and a video game, which I have not partaken in, either of which, but Henry Cavill is perfect as Geralt. He is beautiful. Somebody on Twitter I saw called him Swole Legolas, which...
Yup.
It's got its funny moments. He curses a lot, which is fun. Like, you don't often see characters in like medieval type shows being like,
Fuck.
it's funny to see him say that in the context of The Witcher. And the music in it is good. The score is good. Jaskier as the bard is fucking hilarious, fucking perfect. Tasa Coendier Witcher is a bop. And it's a medieval show that doesn't feature any sexual violence, which is refreshing in a day and age when like Game of Thrones exists, which is why my sister doesn't want to watch Game of Thrones, but I showed her The Witcher and she actually enjoyed it, and she doesn't usually like shows like this. So it is refreshing to see see. There is a scene in, I can't remember which episode it is, but it's an episode where the character Yennefer goes through a transformation, and it is very intense. There's some issues with her storyline that I can see that a lot of people have criticized about their take on her changing from somebody who is disabled into being like a beautiful abled woman. So there's definitely criticisms that I can have of the show and that I see of the show and that are valid. I think it's overall a really fun watching experience and overall something that you can watch pretty quickly. I know that they're going to be making a season 2 because they're already shooting it. Henry Cavill's been like, we're starting working on season 2. I'll be interested to see where it goes, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So I do recommend it. Look up other reviews from people if you want to watch it. Definitely don't take completely my word for it, but these are just things that I've been watching and that I've been enjoying. So I hope that was somewhat helpful to y'all. Let me know some of your favorite Hulu and Netflix shows down in the comments. I do not have Amazon or Disney Plus. I wish Freaks and Geeks was on Hulu, but it's not. It's on Amazon, but fuck. I still have the DVD set of that show though, so I could just like watch it if I wanted to. But for today's song of the day is Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, because why not? And I'll actually leave a link to a metal version of it, and it's awesome. This like Brazilian metal vocalist uploaded this like full cover of the song, and it's fantastic. And they used the cover of the song in like a remake of the intro to the show in a very like 90s Xena Hercules type way, and it's hilarious. So yeah, listen to the song. It's not as funny if you haven't watched the show yet, but if you have watched the show, listen to the song. It's funny and it's entertaining. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks to my patrons for continuing to support me. That's what Sai appreciates about you. Squirrely Dan reference. Hello. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you would like me to talk about TV things more often, let me know, because I do watch a lot of content. I watch a lot of TV shows and miniseries and documentaries, and let me know if you would like me to get into talking more about that. I was thinking of maybe doing something where it's like not like a movie review or like some sort of review while I'm getting ready. So like do a get ready with me while talking about something I just watched. I'm thinking of doing that. I don't know how exactly I would structure it, but that's just something that I'm thinking of. So if you would like to see that, give me a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new here and you want to see more. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!